Listen!
Hello and welcome to Nintendo Voice Chat, IGN's Nintendo podcast. I am your host, back again, Casey DeFreitas, and this week I am joined by Peer Schneider.
Hello.
Brian Altano.
Hey.
And Tom Marks.
Hello.
I am so happy to be back, and this week we get to talk about a little bit of Monster Hunter, specifically a Monster Hunter Special Edition Switch, the Bowser's Fury preview, and Mario Rabbids rumors, and, a whole lot more, like the huge. But hey guys, how are you? I'm so glad to be back. Not bad,
The
huge. Glad.
I miss this like perfect balance of professional-ism and awkwardness.
That's just me in a nutshell all the time.
Nailed it.
So do you have your power back? Are you expert gamer again?
Only for an hour at a time, which is better than none. So
progress.
It is better. It's progress. I did try some Smash, and I won my first game back at Smash against someone who commonly gets second or third, and sometimes even first in our tournaments that our friends hold. So felt pretty good about that. Away from action games for 9 months, and I won my first Smash game, but best 2 out of 3, so pretty good.
Cool. Well, we're gonna put you on graphic novels for the next 6 months then.
Yeah, no, pretty much. No, I'll do my best. I'm still doing it. Playing a little bit of Monster Hunter, a little bit of stuff when I can. But yeah, let's get it started with the Bowser's Fury preview. This is Super Mario 3D World with the expansion. Our friend Joe Scrubbles over in the UK was able to get some hands-on with it. Brian, I know you're a big fan of Super Mario 3D World. What did you think of Joe's preview?
I didn't read it because I don't want to be spoiled. Because I'm very excited for this game. No, it's okay. We'll do it now. It's okay. It's all right. I'm super excited for this. I'm not necessarily in media blackout. I've seen what I needed to see. I read a little bit about the length of this sort of bonus campaign. I'm all in. Like I don't need any more. I don't need any more arm twisting. This is like basically a brand new 3D Mario, mini game or smaller size game coming to Switch very soon. And I can't wait. Like I will 100% the main campaign in this game again in multiplayer. I love this game so much. And the Bowser's Fury stuff looks amazing. And I didn't read the preview because I don't want to be spoiled. But now my friends can spoil me while I'm stuck here in this chair, being forced to listen to you.
I can tell you everything that's in it.
Okay, go for it. It's fine.
No, it's Joe did an awesome job. If you listeners, viewers, if you haven't watched it, watch his preview. It does a really nice job at breaking down the two parts of the game. He says it's basically 2 games in one. You get the classics, slightly sped up, right? More side-scrolling oriented game, so not like a Mario Odyssey 3D exploration game, but like this fun kind of fast 4-player game. And then this completely separate mode. He was only able to get limited time with, what probably everybody's curious about, Bowser's Fury. But he said it's really interesting because it uses the 3D World engine, but then a kind of more open world setup like Odyssey. So when you watch the preview, you can see it sometimes doesn't quite look as good as Odyssey, but in general, it still looks really impactful because it has all these cool weather effects, and it's just really, really neat to see the styles of the 2 games mixed like that. But the thing that I thought was really interesting is that he confirmed that the Bowser appearance is like the Blood Moon in Zelda, in that it's like a world event that happens. And when Bowser is there, he'll attack you, and his attacks can open areas or destroy blocks that otherwise you wouldn't be able to get into. So it's a scary event, but it's also a welcome event. And so the thing he wasn't able to do is to actually do the battle with Bowser. Presumably, that's what you build up to, and that's how you end the level. It's really cool looking.
Yeah, there are. So I don't know how much you want to be spoiled. I think he said that you can get him to go away by picking up one of the collectibles called a cat shine. And he said there were a lot of similarities and callbacks to Mario Sunshine, but no flood or anything like that. And there's an item that you can pick up and then do Gigantamax battle with Bowser.
Yeah. Yeah, so you collect shines basically, like in Sunshine, which is different from obviously 3D World in the way it's set up. But it is very curious, right? Like that you kind of get a mini Mario adventure in it. Like it almost makes it feel like maybe at one point they were thinking about doing this cat thing as a Odyssey DLC level or something like that. But yeah, it's I can't wait to play it. Unfortunately, my number one player partner, my daughter, we used to play this together. She now lives in Japan, but luckily the game has multiplayer. So
that's right.
I mean, sorry, online multiplayer.
It does have online, and from what I saw, sort of on social media, it seems to work pretty well. I'm very into that concept. Pear, I think you're totally onto something. It does feel kind of curious that there's this brand new side mode, because Nintendo didn't need to do this. Like a lot of their ports from the Wii U era have been a lot more straightforward. They've added some stuff here and there into like Pikmin, and obviously we got additional modes and stuff in I guess, what was it in Mario Kart? Did they add battle mode eventually on the Switch?
We got additions on the Switch for sure.
Yeah, but this game is fantastic on its own, and it doesn't feel short on content at all. So I'm super happy they decided to add even more, because like I said, 100% of the last one, I'll do it all over again. But I was not expecting anything new here, and to get that is a really cool bonus for fans. But I think you're right. Like, I wonder when and where the development of this mode was sort of adjacent to. Like, was this an Odyssey thing? Was this 3D World DLC or additional stuff that they were planning until they saw the Wii U kind of tapered off in terms of sales? But either way, I'm glad it's here now.
It's neat, yeah, and just as I think a guiding light for Nintendo's decisions is how many people played any of the Wii U games, and I think we're seeing the additions in games that sold well on Wii U by Wii U standards, right? Like millions of copies, whereas like some games that tanked on Wii U, they're just porting over with very little changes. So yeah, I mean, maybe we'll eventually get a Wind Waker with some stuff added to.
Like inverted controls. But some more clarification on the multiplayer editions. So the way it works is that one player will create a room and other players will join, and it seems very easy to use, but only the person who made the room will make progress in their game. They also made it so there are the treasure tracker levels in this game as well, and now everyone can participate in those as well instead of just having to watch.
2-player, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think the treasure, those the fixed levels are 2 players from what I saw, but that's great. It used to be like, all right, everybody stop and watch, right?
Yeah, exactly. So very cool. Looking forward to that. I honestly, it's like another one. It's another one of those games that I barely played on the Wii U at all. It was one of those that I pick up and play at a friend's house because they had it, but I never actually got it myself. That seems to be a trend of Mario games with me. Everyone had it, so I never felt pressured to buy it because I could just play it for free at other people's houses, which isn't a thing right now, but I'm
so jealous of people who skipped the Wii U. I mean, there were a couple of really awesome games on that system, and but people rightfully maybe skipped it because it didn't have the greatest, the broadest lineup, and now you get to play these games for the first time. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. But that was our discussion on Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury preview. That's the final preview. This game is coming out soon, so we'll give you our full review thoughts then. But now, more Mario. So, at least kind of. So, yesterday, the Rabbids official Twitter, this is all complete rumors, just complete speculation, but the Rabbids official Twitter handle changed their name to Mario Rabbids, but then they changed it back today. Why? I don't know. The last time they tweeted was in August 2020, and that tweet reads, ready, set, run, click here to join Rabbids Wild Race and beat the best score. Which has nothing to do with Mario and Rabbids, but maybe they did it to have people start talking about Mario and Rabbids, so they're extra excited when they announce a new game. Again, complete speculation. Who knows? Was it a mistake? Maybe.
Well, so here's the thing, real quick though. Maybe the timing was a mistake, but that account on Twitter is verified, and in order to change the handle of the @ of a verified account, you lose verification unless you go through Twitter to get it approved.
Ooh.
So they had to go through the process of talking to someone at Twitter to change this handle. And my theory is because they changed it back, that must mean that it just went through at the wrong time or too soon or something like that. Whether this
Twitter made a
means
mistake.
yeah, whether this means Mario and Rabbids 2 is coming is like, that's all speculative, but like they had to consciously make the choice to change this handle to Mario Rabbids, which does mean something to me.
Yeah, this is not, I totally agree. This is not, some social media intern makes a change and goes, oh, sorry, I didn't know we couldn't do that. Like that took effort. And these companies are usually really buttoned up with their social media presence, because naming something means you have to have the trademark for it, right? Like there are all sorts of legal questions. In this case, another brand is involved with Mario, and like for someone to willy-nilly change that seems very unlikely.
Right.
I would love another game. I think that team behind it is so talented. I wish they had just been given the keys to make a Donkey Kong 3D game or something like that. But I will take another Mario Rabbids if they're working on one, please.
I really, really wanted Davide Soliani and the rest of the team to make or to do like a full-on remake of Super Mario RPG. And this, I've said that for years. I really, really want that to happen. I feel like that the isometric look of this game, just take a lot of those textures in, either a sequel or a remake or something like that. So this Twitter handle getting changed to Mario Rabbids doesn't exactly imbue a ton of confidence, because I don't want Rabbids in Super Mario RPG unless it's like an Easter egg or one's hiding behind a tree in one level. That's it. But this probably means a sequel, and I'm not going to complain about that. Because that versus the lofty expectations I invented in my own warped brain is not very fair. So that said, the first game was excellent, and I'll totally play a sequel to this. But I do want a Mario RPG sequel, reboot, 3D remake at some point with no Rabbids. That's all. I don't ask for much.
Call up Mr. Square. Maybe they make one.
Yeah, right?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those are the Mario Rabbids rumors. Probably means something. We don't know what. But what we do know is that right now there is a Monster Hunter Special Edition Switch available for pre-order right now in Europe and available later in Japan. For the US, unconfirmed. Am I salty? Confirmed. But it is a special edition Switch bundle featuring Monster Hunter Rise decorations on the Switch and the Joy-Cons. There's also a new Pro controller for the game as well, which features the flagship monster Magnamalo. It looks very cool. I would like another Pro controller. Can the US please have it so I don't have to bother Scrubbles to get one for me? But yeah, very cool. The special edition Switch comes with a download code for the game, and like I said, it is available for pre-order in Europe, but not yet in Japan, and not at all for the US. That's about it.
That's annoying.
I want the Joy-Con.
It's so pretty.
The whole thing looks really good.
Look, I don't want to buy another Switch. They're already making a Mario edition one that has a new Joy-Con color. And then they're making this one, which has the gray with the printed designs, which, isn't as exciting as a new color. I don't know. We'll see. There might be some folks on eBay who are selling the Joy-Con standalone. That happens usually with the special editions. You can get like a set of Animal Crossing ones for $100 or something. Oh. Because I don't need more Switches, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
You also don't need more Joy-Con.
Oh, I do.
We're on the topic.
I mean, they break every 2 months, so.
Give it to me.
You need them in that sense of like, you've collected all of them so far, and so your brain is telling you have to keep going.
That's it. But that's the
I'm telling you, as your friend, you don't have to. You can get out of the game. I left the Amiibo game. I got like, I don't know, it was like Marth or Roy. I was like, I don't like this dude. And I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, says the man with 1,200 Bib Fortunas behind him at this moment.
Okay, first of all, they didn't make 1,200. They've only made like 15. There's one of them I don't have, and he's very. I'll explain now that you brought this up. In the 80s, Star Wars and Colgate partnered with each other, and they put out a line of toothpaste that came with figures. And the first one they did was Bib Fortuna, arguably the worst teeth in Star Wars, and then they never did any more. And so I've seen that in person at Rancho Obi-Wan, but It's hundreds of dollars, and I'm not going to hunt it down.
Did they make an official Bib Fortuna XL from Mandalorian, or did you make your own out of clay?
They Gentle Giant made an official jumbo Bib Fortuna that I cannot find because it was guild exclusive for members 2 years ago, and I missed out, and it basically doesn't exist anymore. So if you have that and you're listening and you're as obscure with your collectibles as I am, why did this turn on me? That's not fair.
It was a deflection move. I will.
And you fell for it, Brian.
I will buy the I will get that Pro controller for sure, because that one's sold separately. And remember, we haven't seen a Pro controller in many months. What was the last one? I can't even remember which one. It wasn't the Smash one. It was the Xenoblade one. It's been a really long time. They haven't done a new design, which means maybe Pro controllers aren't selling as well, right? The Switch obviously is on fire and selling incredibly well.
They're not available. I mean, I'm not at my normal residence right now, and I realized all I had with me was a broken pair of Joy-Con, and I looked everywhere for an official Pro controller. And by look everywhere, I mean I looked online to look at the stock in stores nearby me, and no one had one. I had to get a knockoff Power A, which is really cute. There, I'll show it. There's a little Pikachu.
Oh, that's really nice.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's really light, but it doesn't have the gyro capabilities or the rumble. So it's fine, but yeah, it is missing some of the features. It also has a headphone jack, which is neat.
That makes it better than the Pro controller to me.
It does, right? The headphone jack, but yeah, I couldn't find an official one. So
okay, I'll stop buying them up, then you can have some too.
And I did want to comment. I do like the design of this special edition Switch, but I do wish they had changed the Nintendo logo on the dock to match the gold with the rest of the design. And I kind of wish there was some color in there, because we have a lot of gray Switches.
They've been very sparing with the color. Like, you guys know, the Dragon Quest one has the little blue slimes on it, but generally they're just black with little printed stuff on it. The Mario edition one is the first one that actually has a different colored case.
Right.
I mean, look,
Animal Crossing one too, right?
No, the actual Switch is black still. It's
the Switch itself is.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The dock is a different color. So, I mean, look, I wish they would stop so I wouldn't have to buy the controllers. But no, Brian, I have to.
I won't say anything anymore.
Fine.
I'm in my literal shame corner, so I won't say anything anymore.
Thank you, Brian. Bip Altano.
At the rate the Joy-Con break, though, you might as well just keep cycling through them.
What a segue.
Yeah. And perfect segue, because speaking of that, there have been even more Joy-Con complaints, including from a very official source, which is me, who bought a left Joy-Con and it broke after a day, and I had to return it. So, but besides me, there are two other things going on. The European Consumer Organization has submitted a complaint to the European Commission about Nintendo Switch Joy-Con drift, and is calling for a Europe-wide investigation into the issue. The BEUC says nearly 25,000 complaints have been filed by European consumers, and in 80% of cases, the game controllers broke within the first 2 years of use. And Nintendo is now facing down potential legal trouble in Canada, the US, and across Europe. So
at what point,
why didn't they just fix it?
Right, that's the thing. It's like, at what point is this recall worthy of just if you guys had just fixed this 2 years ago when people were bringing it up as an issue, instead of just sort of burying their head in the sand about the issue and just offering free repairs and that's the only real solution, then this wouldn't have been continuously escalating, where it's more lawsuits are being brought. Now the EU is investigating. And it's at any point in the last 4 years, you could have figured out a way to revise this design. I'll keep going back to the fact that the Switch Lite, also gets drift, is incomprehensible to me at this point.
Yeah, it's justified. Crazy. The suits are justified, but maybe Nintendo did the math and says it's cheaper to settle, or they think that they'll win, and that's cheaper than a recall.
I mean, this is like one of the most consistently innovative companies in history. They figured out how to make a piano and a robot out of cardboard. Like, I have a Mario Kart toy that knows my living room. Like, fix the Joy-Cons. Like, it's not like, figure it out. I don't understand why this is so. Tom, you did an editorial on this a year ago. We did a video together about this. Even that was 2 years after it was already happening. It's been how long? Is this the 4th anniversary of the Switch in March? Yeah. That's crazy. 4 years and we're still getting Joy-Con drift. Like, it's insane to me.
Look, I mean, their answer is going to be that they fix it for free, right? If your Joy-Con breaks, I think I'm at 4 sent in and fixed, right? They say, oh, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. And so it's not that they're not doing anything, but it is kind of crazy that there's still this fear and this uncertainty that it will happen with the latest and newest Joy-Con, which, in some cases can't be replaced because they're also special editions. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's very strange.
And the special edition one is the worst part.
Totally. And as I said in that piece a year ago, that's still like the only thing that's not completely relevant about the thing I wrote a year ago is like that repair centers have opened back up to a certain extent now, which they were closed during like the beginning of the pandemic. But like, I still can't use my Joy-Con out, like sitting comfortably on my couch because it's just slightly too far away from my Switch. But like, my Pro controller works, my PS5 controller works, my PS4 controller works. Every other wireless controller I've ever had works at farther than that distance. But Joy-Con just have this weird problem with desync occasionally. Like, it's really wild to me kind of how quickly these issues were presented and how much they still have been unaddressed. And at this point, I have to assume it's what you said, Peer, of just it's the cold calculating lawyers in Nintendo figuring out what is financially best for the company, which, that's their job and I don't fault them for it, but it's not what's best for the consumer, right?
Right. Well, it's also like, I mean, I appreciate that they are doing free repairs, but unless you have a secondary controller, which a lot of people don't, they just bought a Switch or a Switch Lite, you're incapable of accessing your games or playing your games for the entire duration of time that your Joy-Con is out of commission and waiting to be, fixed and returned. So like a bunch of us, we have Pro controllers. I have like, a bunch of 8-bit controllers. I could, connect something to get through a week or two if I needed to. But for the average player, if like they're playing Animal Crossing and there's an event coming up and their Joy-Con dies or drifts, like they're missing out. Like, and that's you buy into an ecosystem by purchasing a console or a handheld, or in this case a hybrid, and not being able to access the stuff that you paid into is such a bummer. And I feel like this is something that could be fixed on an R&D level and it wouldn't be an issue 4 years later, but here we are.
Yeah. So unhappy. I don't know if anyone wants to give them a benefit of the doubt, as in they did look into it and realized they couldn't fix the problem without fundamentally changing the design of the product.
Right.
But probably not.
They'd have to.
Well, that's fair, right? Like that is so to give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, if that's the issue, then that's a big issue to solve. But it feels like a problem that is pervasive enough that they should have solved it. Right. Like, that's the key thing to me is like the red rings of death for the Xbox 360 is the comparison I'll always keep going back to, where it's like that was happening to enough to people before it became this big thing. Right. But then at a certain point, it happened to enough people where they said, we literally cannot let this keep going on. We need to fix the issue at great cost to ourselves because we need to do right by the people who are buying this system. And like Nintendo just hasn't done that.
Yeah. I mean, Microsoft was mailing out cardboard boxes to people that like gamers were calling coffins.
Coffin.
Yeah. And you would put the system in the coffin, or you would like what I did was I wrapped my 360 in towels for like a week to like keep it alive to finish playing a game. But eventually what they did was just completely redesign the console, and maybe they just need to redesign Joy-Con. Maybe we've had Joy-Con for 4 years. Like, sort of push them aside and make them a legacy Joy-Con, and roll out new hardware for 2021 and say, this is what Joy-Con are now, and they're foolproof, or as foolproof as we can get them.
And that's where the legal side of the house, I think, forbids them to actually make that move. The right move would be to come out and say, yes, these had problems. If you have issues, we'll send you a coffin to send it in for repair. This is what we changed. And here you don't have to worry about the new units. But there's just no way they'd do that. Because that means admitting that there's a fault rather than the onus on the consumer, putting the onus on the consumer to say, oh, my Joy-Con broke. Will you fix it? And they'll go, sure.
Right.
Yeah. Well, until then, I will keep purchasing the warranty for 2 years on my Joy-Con, because then I'll just get an unlimited amount of Joy-Con. I'll just keep exchanging them forever. So thank you, insurance, for letting me put insurance on my Joy-Con. And in happier news, there are a couple of Animal Crossing things happening again. I wanted to know, Brian, Pear, Tom, are you guys still playing? Are you guys still involved in those Animal Crossing updates? Yeah.
I missed Christmas too. I was gonna head into town Christmas, and then I was like, meh.
I missed Christmas, Halloween. I won't say like I burned out on that game, but I played it a lot. Like I played it personally on my own for probably like 150 hours. And then like I hosted multiple charity streams, and each one of those I was visiting different people's towns, and that was like another 100 hours. So by the time I was done, I was like, okay, I think I've seen what I need to see here. But then it kept going, and all this cool stuff kept getting added. But I'm at the point now where I've been gone for so long that I don't want to go back, because I feel like I'm going to let everyone in that game down. All the animals who haven't seen me in so long. There's going to be rats and roaches everywhere. Crime is going to be up. It's going to be really bad.
You could sell those roaches to the store.
That's right.
What?
For money.
Yeah.
You can sell roaches now? I thought you just had to step on them and turn them into ghosts. You could sell roaches?
No, I'm lying. I'm completely lying.
You could make up so many things that have.
You would have almost gone back in. No,
you can sell those for a huge profit.
I spent the whole weekend with a net trying to catch her.
For me, it's more that the mystery is gone, right? Like when in the last round of Animal Crossing, when new events were added, there was always this kind of discovery factor. But now we're going through the seasonal events that I already know from past titles, right? Like I know, all right, well, you'll get there's a certain set of items that you can collect by doing certain things, and then you have them. And that's it, right? Like I would go check in if there was a significant new addition, right? Just like diving was familiar again from the last game, but diving at least made you go in and go, oh, I can go into the water now and dive and collect a different type of something that wasn't just, a new set of chairs and tables and all of that.
Yeah.
That's what would motivate me to go back in if there was a significant update.
I haven't gone back in myself either, but my partner started playing over winter break actually a bit, just like revisited, and has since kind of like fallen off a little bit again. But like it was cool to see her dip into it and kind of experience that a little bit through her, of just like seeing the snowman stuff firsthand and seeing some of the Christmas stuff firsthand, and like specifically, and this was actually really, really nice. I don't know if I mentioned this on the show yet. Like we spent New Year's, because it was a pandemic New Year's where we didn't get to see anyone or go anywhere. And so like we spent the countdown in Animal Crossing, and we put it on the TV, and the plaza is filled with like Tom Nook and Isabel, and you give everyone little New Year's hats, and they're all like super excited. And there's a big timer, and it counted down to midnight at the right time, and the fireworks went off, and like it was really cute and fun to like have a little party through the game actually timed to midnight. So that was like a really nice little treat, actually.
I saw
was that on New Year's.
A lot of people were posting shots of that on social media, and it was like really, really heartwarming. Like it was that made me want to go like, okay, I'll jump in tonight. But then I think I fell asleep at like 9:15 on New Year's, like I always do.
The thing that was really great about it was like it wasn't like a cut scene, right? It wasn't like a railroaded thing. It was just like people were in the plaza, and then when it got to 10 seconds, they just started counting, and then after that they start pulling party poppers and like drink. Like you literally have a champagne item where you can like do a thing where you hold it up to you like toast basically with champagne. And it was just very cute and warm and fuzzy. And also like some of the best music in that game, because at 10 minutes to midnight, the soundtrack changed. And then at 5 minutes to midnight, the soundtrack changed. And then at 1 minute to midnight, the soundtrack changed. And it was all like unique music for those moments. It was like really, really good. It was cute. It was fun.
It's cute.
I think like one of the things that kept me from really sticking with it was there was a lot of like little things that kind of drove me nuts. Like I remember like having to move a building by like a pixel and having to go through that whole routine of like asking, you know, the mouse that lived in that house, like, can I move your house like an inch? And then be like, yeah, 3 days later, be like, can I move it again? I screwed up. Like there was like all this little things like that, which I doubt they fixed or patched. But yeah, I kind of want to go back in because I miss that game.
What I will say is it's a lot less punishing to like long time away returners than previous Animal Crossing games. Previous Animal Crossing games, I feel like would like flood your town with weeds, and like everyone when you talk to them would be like, hey, where have you been? It's been too long. This game's sort of just like there's still roaches and there's still weeds and people will mention, but it's not nearly as much like it doesn't hit you over the head with like you abandoned us nearly as much as other games.
Well, I remember like one of the older ones, it was either the DS one or the GameCube one. You would like dip out for like a month or two and you'd come back and there would just be like 15 characters in a row would come to your house and talk to you. Like Rossetti would yell at you and then he'd leave. And then Nook would be like, you still owe me money. And then Tortimer would show up and he'd be like, there's been an accident. Like it would just keep going. Like, you'd be stuck in this loop for so long. And by the time you went out, everything was covered in weeds.
That's funny. Look, we're coming up on the 1 year anniversary. So I'm expecting, you know, either Nintendo says, well, not enough people are playing anymore and we're going to walk away, or we'll get a Nintendo Direct in February that's going to announce what's going to happen with the next season or year of the game, because we're not going to collect all the freaking eggs again, right?
No, never. Please don't ever. I cannot believe that was the first event that everyone, when that game had peak concurrence, they were just like, release the eggs.
Release the eggs.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the Mario stuff. That's I think that's 100% going to get me to go back in the Mario items, because I made like a full Mario like room in the last game, and so that's coming out in March, right? I know they teased that last year.
Yeah, I believe so. The next one is Festival, which so the update you should be able to download it either today or tomorrow.
Festival,
which is based off the Carnival, which is Carnival. Oh my goodness, which is celebrated in Brazil, and has a lot of different colorful costumes, and you have this really cute new character and you get to collect feathers, and everything you want to know about the event you can find on our wiki page. Please look at that if you want to know the minute details. But starting February 1st, you'll be able to purchase new items exclusive to this event in Nook's Cranny. So check that out.
It's actually Carnival is a big deal in Germany in February as well. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like every town has like floats going around. Everybody dresses up like here on Halloween, and the floats throw candy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That was our Halloween basically in February, and it was always snowy and rainy and cold.
See, that's the
you're right. And then there's the Mario one in March.
Yeah.
But I know we just talked a ton about Animal Crossing, but really quick, there's also an Animal Crossing Sanrio collaboration pack coming to the US for the first time. It's new amiibo cards coming exclusively to Target. And also, I know if you're listening to this now, you already missed it. And I'm sorry, I should have mentioned it last week. I'm terrible. But there was an Animal Crossing ColourPop collaboration. For those who don't know, ColourPop is a makeup brand that you can purchase at Ulta and also online. I am a big fan of ColourPop. I actually wear it all the time. It's just it's really affordable, good makeup. And they came out with an adorable Animal Crossing collaboration. I was so surprised. That came out at 10 a.m. Eastern time this morning. And it's probably all sold out by now, but you can give it a shot. They'll probably restock with it at some point, but it included some 4-pan palettes. I'm sorry, I really like makeup. I'm going to talk about it. But these really cute 4-pan palettes that are features the Animal Crossing characters like What a Hoot with Blathers, or Nook Inc. with the Nook and his little nephews, and it was just, it's cute. And they had a bunch of different lip tints based on the fruits, which smell like the fruits and have tints. And then they had the glitter set, which is Billionaire, and it was just very adorable and creative. But yeah, I asked ColourPop to send us that so I could take photos for IGN, and they did not respond to me, and I'm sad. But I still bought some anyway, so it's fine. Eventually, in a month when I get it.
Nice.
But yeah, that's it for Animal Crossing. Thanks for letting me talk about this makeup. But look how cute this packaging is.
It's a great crossover idea. I love that too.
Yeah, it's adorable. But anyway, we were just talking about Animal Crossing, but now we're going to talk about a little known feature about the Nintendo 64 called the Stop and Swap feature. So this was reported by Rare Gamer. They got this in an interview and kind of got some insight onto why it was removed. Peer knows so much more about this than I do. So Peer, please take it away and explain the Stop and Swap feature and some stuff that you discovered back when Banjo-Kazooie first came out.
I lived it. So I remember when Banjo-Kazooie was announced at a GameStop conference. It was called Dreams, and it was this awesome, mysterious game. And some of that mystery persisted into the game because there were hidden things in there, such as the ice key and a feature that was teased called Stop and Swap, both words with O's in them, that was supposed to tie Banjo-Kazooie to its sequel. And, as we learned through this letter, also Donkey Kong 64. The idea was, so there's basically there are these items that are teased in the game when you 100% Tui, you can see at the end, you can see pictures of these, because you can see these pictures of these eggs that Mumbo Jumbo teases. And the way it was supposed to work was Rare figured out that if you have a cartridge in your N64 and you pull it out quickly and put another one in, the game does not shut down, and game code can be kept in RAM and then basically act as a transfer to the new game. So they were going to tie their games together. And there's a quote, I think it was also on Rare Gamer, that one of the Rare devs said that they had aspirations to do that with 6 games, almost like the MCU of Rare games, like tying them all together. Now, if you remember the N64 and the Super NES and all those times, and you remember the instruction manual said, don't pull out the cartridge while the system is on. It could damage your system. It could damage your game, all of those things. And it sounds like that's what happened here. Rare had the idea to tie games together and unlock secrets between these games by hot swapping them. And Nintendo said, and cautioned them and gave some advice on how to tie it together. I remember when we got Banjo-Tooie like a week and a half, I think, before it came out. We got the cartridge, we played it, and we found the ice key in it. And, everybody was wondering about this ice key in Banjo-Kazooie and how you could never get to it. And so we thought, finally, the mystery is going to be solved. But it turns out that connection feature was actually removed. And it wasn't until the Xbox versions, when Rare changed owners, that connection was patched in. If you had save files for the Banjo games, you could actually it would unlock rewards and achievements in some cases, and extra items in the Xbox exclusive Banjo game too. But yeah, it's a really cool story. The Donkey Kong 64 connection is really interesting. There are these kind of abandoned little features in DK64, like a fridge that was supposed to perhaps let you connect to Banjo. There was talk, I remember we reported on Donkey Kong 64 having a 64DD feature, and the 64DD was designed around add-on content, right? You'd be able to have a disc in the drive while playing the cartridge game. All of that obviously never came to fruition. And so it's kind of like unearthing these ruins of forgotten dreams.
Yeah, allegedly it was supposed to allow you to collect, I think it was 15,000 more balloons that they hid all over. It's a stupid game. No, it's impossible to understand, like, how I remember, like, those rumors around the time. That was such a cool concept, but I totally understand why they said no to it, because, like, you do risk the chance of having your entire save data wiped just by lifting, pulling things out of your system in the middle of it doing what it's supposed to be doing. So
I think they filed a patent for it too, right? Rare filed a patent for stop and swap and all of that.
The patent, I think, was even like mentioned, like you could theoretically have an ice key that opens an ice door in another game, and then they used that exact thing, right? Like that was the exact plan.
But the hilarity is
Spoilers.
the N64 had a controller pack. You could save data to it and use it in the next game, and that would have been so easy to share data. But like Rare just they were very creative and very fancy. They wanted to do something cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was weird. It's weird too. It's just so funny to hear about this in 2021 when you're just like, oh yeah, that's just how save data works, right? Like tons of games do this all the time now, right?
Yeah.
And they had to, at the time, without the controller pack, like they had to think about like, okay, how could we functionally do this? The idea of storing game data in RAM and then removing the game and swapping it is like so like weird caveman old school, but it's such like it's just what they were they were experimenting, and that's so cool.
I mean, they were I believe this was confirmed, and then they pulled the feature at the end, but they had experimented with letting users use the Game Boy camera to take pictures of themselves to import into Perfect Dark to become like enemies.
I remember that.
And they pulled it for some pretty bleak reasons. There were like some mass shootings and stuff at the time, and school shootings. And they were basically like, let's stay away from letting anyone have that sort of capability. But that's, there was a minute there where they were like, you can use your Game Boy camera, plug it into your N64 through some apparatus, and then take pictures of yourself to put in Perfect Dark, which would have been hilariously bad because like, the Game Boy camera I loved it, but it did not take the best photographs.
It looked pretty good. Remember the textures back then were really bad too. My face texture is actually in Perfect Dark as one of the enemies.
What?
So you can kill me.
What?
Please don't.
What?
Yes.
Wait, for real?
Yeah.
I played that game for a billion hours. I probably shot you so many times.
But
are they getting you back for the remake?
Yes. No, but we I don't think so. I think we tested the Game Boy camera feature and it worked pretty well. I think it was even testable at E3. The textures were so simple back then. Even the camera did a good job at getting close to something.
And then they brought back that idea for the DS's AR thing, right? There's that AR balloon shooting game where you can put your face on it.
Weird.
I just found an article called "Shoot IGN 64 Dead."
Oh no!
You might be surprised by some of the characters in Rare's upcoming first-person shooter. June 2012. Wow. Yeah. So this was first posted February 3rd, 2000 at 1 a.m. Burning the midnight oil over there.
That's right.
And then I believe it got an update 12 years later, which I'm fascinated as to what you
It's just bug fixes. Probably updated to fix a formatting thing or something.
Yeah, and there's a picture of former NVC host Matt Casmasima in Perfect Dark. I don't see you anywhere, Peer, but you're...
I think we didn't have the game yet for picture taking, so it was just coincidentally one of the official pictures had Matt in it.
And Miyamoto's in the game too. Interesting.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, there are a bunch of people. There are a bunch of editors too, because they did this. They did a as part of like talking about the face camera stuff and all of that. I think they took everybody's pictures as a joke and surprise. So, well, there's your way to get back at me.
I hope you all enjoyed listening about Nintendo 64's long dead feature, the stop and swap. But now let's talk about what we're playing now, which I don't think has anything to do with the Nintendo 64. But Brian, I know you were really excited about this last week, but you couldn't talk about it. Mm-hmm. Talk about it now.
Yeah, so I'm playing Cyber Shadow. I'm almost done with it. It launched on Switch and PlayStation. It's on Game Pass and on PC, so pretty much anywhere. I am kind of madly in love with this game. I don't think it reinvents the wheel or anything, but in terms of sort of completely crystallizing why I love the 8-bit, 16-bit era of action platformers, Cyber Shadow does a really good job of sort of evoking all of that. I think the level design is really smart. The controls are really tight. The action is great. And it's got some sort of super Metroid-y features where the more you play, the more sort of like attributes and power-ups and skills you unlock, which give you much better abilities and sort of like add to your verticality, your speed, your action, your combat, everything. And so the game kind of ramps up as it gives you more stuff, and also gives you an opportunity to go back and play through older levels and collect collectibles and unlockables that will make you even more powerful and more strong. I really like this game. It's not developed by Yacht Club, but they did publish it, and they did sort of oversee development and kind of give some nudges here and there to be like, hey, add this, do that, put a checkpoint here. It's decidedly sort of 16-bit Ninja Gaiden, like tried and true formula. I would say like if you dug The Messenger, it's up there with that. I actually like this a little bit more. I've seen some people say that they like The Messenger more. It's challenging, so keep that in mind. This is definitely one of those games where you will be tempted to yell or throw your controller.
Maybe they'll fix the drift.
Yeah, exactly.
Throw your controller.
But like I find myself playing a lot of games like this where they are punishing but doable, and when you get through a section, you're like, I feel like a king. Like this is amazing. And so like I'm stuck on a particular section right now that I will get back to play later. That I played for like 45 minutes this morning and couldn't get through. But I know it. Like I'll come back clear-headed a few hours later and crush it. And so yeah, check this game out. It's called Cyber Shadow. It's super cool. Yeah, it's out now. Plays great on Switch, and it's on Game Pass if you have that. So give it a shot.
We do have a review up for it by Mitchell Saltzman, who gave it an 8 out of 10 and said a lot of similar things that Brian just did. Tom, what did you play?
I was going to say real quick, he said it was hard, and he's absurdly good at video games.
Really good, yeah.
So just that word of caution there.
Mm-hmm.
Tom, what are you playing?
The main thing that I wanted to mention was that I'm playing Persona 5 Strikers, which I am playing on the PS4 version of. So I have not played the Switch version specifically, so I can't speak to the quality that way. But and I can only talk about the first kind of section of the game. If you want more in-depth thoughts on that section, Jonathan Dornbush, who's another big Persona fan in-house, did a full preview of it, which you can find on IGN. But yeah, I'm enjoying it a surprising amount, and I'm enjoying it as a Persona game a surprising amount. I think that the biggest misconception that I had about this, and that I think a lot of people had about it, is that it's Koei and it's Omega Force, which means that it's Musou, which means that it's Dynasty Warriors Persona in the same way that Hyrule Warriors is Dynasty Warriors Zelda. And that's not the case at all, I would say. It's not a Musou game at all. It is a Persona-style JRPG that just has combat that's similar to Kingdom Hearts, basically. Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's an action JRPG that feels like a Persona game, like pretty much through and through, a simplified Persona game, but a Persona game through and through. Yeah, it is like, that's the one thing I'll hammer home here. It is not
Sounds cool.
a Musou game. It's not Kingdom Hearts or it's not Persona Dynasty Warriors. It's Persona Kingdom Hearts in like a very, very tangible way.
Does it have I love Persona 5. I think it's one of the best RPGs ever made. And does it have that sense of style where, that Persona feel even permeates the menus and like the way everything feels? Yeah,
totally. It feels pretty much like a lot of things are slimmed down to an extent, but it feels like a direct sequel to Persona 5, pretty much full stop. Almost like a slimmed down sequel, but pretty much that. And like, yeah, it's just really impressed me. The opening level really, really was like, oh, this is not what I was expecting this to be. Great. Yeah. So it's really cool, and it's really just like, God, I love these stupid characters so much. Like, it's so great. It felt like coming home to go back to them. So it was really, yeah.
I'm excited for this, and I really need to finish Persona 5.
It's impossible to finish. What is it? No, it's a very long game, though.
I beat Persona 5, and then I platinum Persona 5 Royal. And that's what I will say for Switch owners. If you haven't played Persona 5, I think probably you're going to get a lot less out of this game.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer for Switch and PC players, but
well, luckily Persona 5 is readily available on Nintendo Switch to purchase and play, right?
It isn't.
Nope.
We wish.
And on that note, we unfortunately are out of time. Peer, I know you wanted to talk about Grindstone and your
I didn't.
Okay, you're just playing Grindstone. Okay, I did get to play some of Atelier Ryza 2 last night, and it was my first Atelier game, and I really liked it. It has like an action time battle system, which was different from what I expected, and a very comprehensive crafting system called Alchemy. It's very neat. I'll talk more about it next week when I'm able to play it more. And over the break, while I was gone, I also played a lot of Calico, which is very cute, but also has a lot of bugs. But they're like the fun kind of bugs. And if I played this when I was a young girl, this would have been my favorite game of all time. Because we collect way more than just cats. But anyway, that is about all the time we have left for this week's NVC. If you want to send in your listener questions, I know we didn't get to them this week, but we will next week. We will get to them. I promise. I'm sorry, but you can submit those questions to nvc@ign.com or respond to our weekly question block post on the Nintendo Voice Chat podcast forums on Facebook. And thank you so much for watching. And remember, NVC is the only place you can
Get the thing.
Get the thing.